Page 32, Rose of Tralee. I don't know that I'm pronouncing that right, whatever. It's an Irish love song. This is in 3/8 time. At the top of the page, they're talking about the dotted 8th note, 16th note pattern in 3/8 time, because we've had it in 3/4 time. In 3/8 time, it actually works a little easier because an 8th note gets a count, which means the 16th note gets half a count. So look at in the middle of the line, on the first line, you see the dotted pattern in that measure here. So the G, the 8th note, gets 1 count. The dot next to it is like a 16th note. It's like an 8th note and a 16th note tied together. So it gets a half a count. And then the F, the 16th note, gets a half a count. So it's 1 and 2 and. So it comes in on the and of 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and, like so. Otherwise it's short. 1 and 2. Just make it, don't turn it into a triplet. So don't play that 16th note too long, or it sounds more like a triplet. We don't want that. Make it short. Now this is 3 flats. We're in the key of E flat major. So go do the scale. Find my scale video on E flat major. I have a playlist on scales, musical scales, playlist, whatever, I don't know. 1 octave up and down at least. And while you're at it, go ahead and do the C minor scale, because it also has 3 flats. Do them both. At least 1 octave up and down. So let's cover this one hand at a time, make sure we have the rhythm and the notes and the fingering. I might make some suggestions here. You're starting out with a pickup beat. We're coming on beat 3, and right off the bat, they want the thumb on that black key. Now this is okay if your hands are small. You can do this. 1, 2. Now those numbers in the between the stab, that's counting. That's not finger numbers or nothing. Don't get confused. It's the counting. They're doing, see, an 8th note gets a count. And we're coming in on beat 3. So it's 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3. So that's the counting. So, but you're up in here, and in E flat major, you pretty much are stuck up in here for the most part. Because E flat, these 3 flats, your hand is just up in here a lot. Now you can adjust this. You can come here and reach up, because if you've got big fat fingers, you probably got big fat hands, and you can reach it. So here, if you need to, otherwise go ahead and use thumb. 1 and 2. And then 4th finger, and the thumb or 2nd finger, whichever. Now they're saying, and then here, 3rd finger's fine if you want, because you can always change to thumb if you need it on that 16th note. So you can start with 2nd finger and then thumb. And then at the end of the 2nd line, the 16th note's 3 and. So the last measure of the 2nd line, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. See, the 16th note gets half a count. Last line, 1 and 2 and 3 and 2. Crossover. That's fine. I suggest you go over this a few times in the right hand until you can kind of smooth it out. You don't want a lot of hesitations. And when we add the left hand, that just makes it harder. So get this right hand down fairly well. Even after you get the right hand down fairly well, when you go to put the hands together, you'll probably still struggle a bit. At least I do. So that's normal. You work it out. Practice. Left hand, you're starting out here, they say. That's fine, because you can still be out here and do that. So it's that dotted quarter note is the same as 3/8 notes. Remember, just memorize it. And here it's going to get 3 counts. 1, 2, 3. Then a D flat. Here, that's fine. And then come down. You can lift up and come down. Now here, go ahead and thumb on the B flat if you can. That's a D, it's this first measure, 2nd line, it's a D and an A flat. So the last measure of the 1st line awkward. Do the best you can. Try and get them down at the same time. I don't, but try. And then here, I prefer fourth finger since I'm already using little finger. I use fourth finger to start, and then fifth finger. A natural here. Second finger, because we need the thumb for the D. And then you have an eighth rest to move back down and do it again. So fourth, put the hands together. Oh, this should be interesting. You can take this like a measure at a time, or a measure or two measures at a time, whatever, to work it out. So don't worry about hesitating right now. You're just trying to get the hands to work together. We're here, and then here. See that 16th note comes in between these notes. So now on those 16th notes at the end of the second line, you can use thumb on all of them. I like 3-2. Out of habit, I like using different fingers on repeated notes. Not everybody does, but I like it, so I just 3-2-1. And at the end, the last two measures, you're here, 3, 4th on the F. That's fine. Gradually work it out and get rid of the hesitations. You can go really, really slow, but it needs to be a regular, steady beat of some speed. Then we can put in the slurs. And the left hand, if you can, I recommend you just connect the left hand. Just connect it all. It's hard to do. You have to lift up sometimes because you got to move. And you have one rest, you lift up for that, of course. But otherwise, connect the left hand. And the right hand, we have the phrasing. Right there. Just like taking a breath. Lift up, both hands together here, like taking a breath. And then you go on. So lift up in the right hand between the phrases. And the dynamic, well, it goes to the melody, which is in the right hand. They want it soft. Whatever you think soft is, you decide what soft is. It can change from time to time, piano to piano, place to place situation. You have to decide in that situation what is soft. The left hand has to be super soft. Second line, second measure, you're going to start crescendoing up to moderately loud. Not loud, just moderately loud. Second line is soft, and then soft, now medium soft, now medium. And that's the right hand. Soft, medium soft, up a little bit for the next measure. So I'm doing it a measure, sort of. Now, that eighth note, that's medium loud. My mind, it's actually better if you got medium loud on the quarter note. So, because you're going up to here, to here's, which is soft, medium soft. That's what I think medium loud should be. I think they put it in the wrong place. And then when you lift up, now you're soft again like you were at the beginning. Till you get to the end of the third line. Now, again, you're going to crescendo up to medium loud. So you only have like a couple, 3 notes now to go from soft to medium loud. So it's like one note's going to be medium soft and the next one's going to be medium loud. You're just a note at a time. So at the end of the third line, you're soft. And at the last line, now I'm going up to medium soft for one note. Now medium loud. So it just happens like a note at a time there. And then you're going to a diminuendo for the last two, go back down to soft. Here, that's soft. Don't get soft until the last note. So it's here. Do medium loud, this is the last two measures. Medium loud, medium soft, soft. There. And you can slow down. There's a retardando there. How much to slow down? I don't know. Just slow down. And get softer all at the same time. Good luck. Now speed-wise, it's grazio, so it's a love song, and be gracious about it, I guess. How fast? About as fast as I think I would. There's words to this. In fact, they have some words at the bottom of the page that you want to sing it. This is one of those fun things where you have to figure out which word goes with which note. That's fun. Just keep in mind that each syllable of a word needs at least one note, and some of them can have more than one note. So you have to work it out. So your sentences in the words sort of go along with the phrases. Doesn't always work that way, but that's the start. That's where you can start. Then you try and figure out where the words go with the notes. I don't do singing in these videos, so I'm not going to worry about it. But the point is that it's a song. It's to sing it. It's not a piano solo. Now on top of that, they've added pedal. Well, you don't really need pedal. You can do it fine. However, it would be nice to have some overtones, get it some color, because it is pretty dry. And so we can add overtone. The problem is it can get pretty mushy and blurry. And this is supposed to be a love song. So we don't need a lot of mushy, blurry loveness going on. So we have to be careful on the pedal. They're suggesting you change the pedal pretty much at each measure until you get to the last line. In other words, they're kind of changing the pedal with a harmony. When the chords change, they're changing the pedal, and it's overlapping. So you're doing the hands first and then the pedal. So, and then the next measure, you do the notes first at the beginning of the measure, and then you change the pedal. It overlaps just a little bit. So it's something like that. If that sounds okay to you, fine. I think it sounds terrible. I really do. I don't like this mushy. It's like, what? That's not my kind of love right there. So I think we complicate the pedal a little bit to get rid of the mushiness. And you may have to experiment with it. What do we do here? Well, one thing you can try, and what I recommend, is we use a type of legato pedaling for the left hand where we're just connecting the left hand between the measures. And otherwise we're not pedaling at all if we can help it. Now sometimes we'll pedal to connect repeated notes. It's like at the beginning. Pick up. I could go ahead and pedal there to connect those notes. I want to connect them here, but I'm going to lift it up right after the second one because I don't want both of those notes. So it'll be, then I'm going to push the pedal down at the end of that measure here, and I'm going to lift it up after I play the next measure because I want to connect this. I want to connect that. So, and again, I'm going to push the pedal down after I play the notes, the last notes in that second full measure, and then lift it after I play the notes in the next measure. All I'm doing is connecting the measures. And then going on, I want to connect the C's. So it's a... here. And make sure if you're pedaling in the last measure of the second line here, lift the pedal up with the hands. We want to hear a phrase, like a breath. And then whether you pedal these repeated B's or not is up to you. You can, if you want to connect them, you pedal them. Otherwise, you don't. See, so now when we get down to the end, it's more like they're telling you how they want you to pedal it. So you can pedal it like they're doing it, because when you change the pedal that often, it doesn't get so blurry. Or again, you don't need to pedal it if you just connect the repeated notes. And you don't need to pedal this at all if you don't want to. But pedal it at the end to connect those. Last two measures. Here. That's my impression. I made that really complicated, but my point is, listen very carefully to the effect the pedal is having to the music and experiment. Is that really what it? Otherwise, you take the easy way out and just don't listen to it, and then you can do what they're telling you to do. I disagree with that. I like to play this with you very slowly to double check the notes and the rhythms. I will attempt to pedal it as I suggested, guarantee. Every time I play this, I play a little differently because I keep experimenting. I like to experiment. I'll give us 2 counts because we come in on beat 3. I'm not going to do any dynamics, but I'll try and do everything else. And I can't retard either. Now remember, an 8th note gets a count here. Ready, go.